Hello and welcome back to Morgan's lazy Sunday afternoon productivity stream. I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood, and today I have the awesome, amazing Doc Coleman with me. Hello.
Hello. It's another Sunday has rolled around and more productivity to be had. Or not. uh, I guess I should go ahead and give my intro. So I am Doc Coleman. I write steampunk comedy adventure. Um, and you can find my books on doccoleman.com, or you can go to Amazon or your favorite search engine and search for Doc Coleman Steampunk and see all my various works out there published. Um, although today I'm editing.
Yeah.
Well,
With your beta reader feedback?
I'm still collecting beta reader feedback and merging it into the master document in Scrivener, and actually had a pretty productive a week as far as that goes. I've got 11 different blocks of feedback that I need to integrate. So I've got a handful of people who've just kind of turned on the switch and started cranking through the book. So I've got a lot to process. How about you? What are you working on today?
I think I'm going to be opening up my I'm opening up my documents and I'm going to see if I can get past chapter 1.
You are you writing or editing? No.
Editing. Okay. I'm editing. So yeah,
very important distinction.
Right. I am working on my NaNoWriMo and getting it ready for my alpha reader, who won't be able to look at it until like March, but it never hurts to get a head start.
It takes a while to get through an entire novel, so if you want to hand it over in one piece, you got to work ahead. So
yeah.
Hi.
So. Oh my gosh, I need to also explain to my dad that WordPress lets you view, like he's working on a new upgraded website and I'm super excited for him, but he is unaware that there's a button in the lower corner to let you see what it would look like on tablets and phones.
Oh, so is he not engineering it to work on mobile devices properly?
Not quite so much. So I'm just gonna do a quick screen capture and be like, "Hey, Dad, it's built in. You don't need to borrow a tool for that." So.
I have a friend.
Ooh, just one?
Well, actually, they're both here with me on the couch, but Gilly's curled up in a ball and is asleep, while Trill is climbing up on my lap.
I mean, it is nap time, so I totally understand. So, what have you been up to today? Did you do anything thrilling and exciting?
Oh, I've been binging more Orphan Black.
Legit.
And it's like I always wanted to get into the series when it was actually on TV, and just never got the timing right. And now that it's all done, it's like I can just sit down and throw up episodes when I've got time to watch.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. What? Why are we doing this? I don't understand what's happening.
Something strange is happening to your computer?
I'm trying to trim a page and it keeps trimming too far, and I don't understand why. Whatever. I got it this time.
Okay.
So. Oh,
I'm being attacked by a tip.
Let's pop over to the comments. I see we have an Andy here today. Hello and welcome. We have Maya. Hello, Maya. I think this might be your first time to my stream, but super excited you're here. Yay. And if not, I'm sorry, I do not have a a permanent memory.
Hi,
And
Maya.
Greg is here.
Yep.
Hello. Plus a couple lurkers out there. And y'all are welcome too. You don't have to talk in order to watch my stream. I don't insist you have to de-lurk to say hello or to hang out on my stream.
But if you've got comments, that's good. Feel free to make them.
Right. So, yeah, my dad has been fighting with WordPress all week. And I was like, I just use this. And he's like, oh my God, that fixed my issue. And I was like, yeah, sometimes you don't have to kludge and do it the hard way. So,
Yep. Yes, my one cat is amazingly fluffy.
oh, it's true. It's true. It's super foofy. Super foofy. And we have Kelly Johnson here today. Hello and welcome. You're joining the stream right now just by being in the chat, but we can definitely talk after the stream. Just feel free to hit me up in Twitter or Discord or Facebook chat. So anyway, only kludge when there's nothing left to hack. Only hack when it doesn't work how you need it to in the first place. So who wants to do a sprint? That thing, the thing where we're productive.
Productivity sprint.
Yeah.
20 fascinating minutes of silence. As
22 minutes.
22
please.
fascinating minutes of silence.
How many minutes did you think it was?
I was not being accurate in my phrasing, but
it's a problem.
Yeah.
Problem.
But
okay, then I'm going to
good for a sprint. You're good for a sprint. Anyone in the chat?
Good for a sprint. Yeah. So, if you want to tell us what you're working on today, toss it into the chat, definitely. So,
or if you're just gonna sit back and snack and watch us work, go ahead.
As we all know, Morgan is a huge fan of snacking instead of being productive. I mean, while being productive, that one. While. So I'm going to go ahead and share my audio, share my Chrome tab, and find the tab with the timer. And let's go ahead. Oh, Greg is waiting for the plumber. Ooh, never a fun thing. Andy is redlining a short story for an anthology submission due in a month. Yay! I really should pay more attention to anthology submissions, but they always want a theme that that I don't have good story ideas for, and but that doesn't mean that the next anthology won't have something I'm lined up for. So
yeah, it's like last week or the week before, I went looking for steampunk anthologies right after the stream, and it's somewhat disappointing that there are a lot of things looking for steampunk horror, which is not what I write.
No. Maybe you should look at more pulp fiction and see if they're also open to steampunk settings.
The pulpy stuff, honestly, a lot of it slants towards horror, and it's like as big as the steampunk scene is, it's really surprising that there aren't more short story anthologies out there. But
I've been enjoying also some writers who are doing steampunk romances.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I believe I found a couple of those. It's just it didn't fit well with the arc that I've got built up for my characters.
Yeah, I get that. So Kelly is taking our suggestion, and he's got the saltines and Nutella going. And Maya is working on a YA high fantasy quartet about anti-heroes and villains and deadly heist games. Nice. So that sounds super fun. Kelly will be putting together his creative quote-unquote to-do list for this week. So Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started in three, two, one, boom. And we're back. How is your friends? You're still on.
Sorry, I had to finish putting in one last comment because I was in the process of it. But no, actually, doing pretty good. Was processing some feedback from somebody who actually joined in the beta read late, um, and uh, uh, she had a lot of things that agreed with what other folks had put in, and also managed to find a number of typos that had slipped past everybody else who'd thrown in feedback. So it went pretty well. It was a
Nice.
nice combination of new and old. So
Okay. So I spent some of it talking to an author tuber who has reached out for a collab video. So hopefully we can figure out a subject and go forward from there. And I did actually start editing. I edited, I think, at least a paragraph. So, there's that.
it all starts somewhere, right?
Exactly. So, popping over to the comments, I see that Maya is loving their character, Chancellor Jones. Mr. Vlandis swung by. Hello. Greg is watching sports ball. And just in case, hello and welcome is not sprinting yet, just started their day and jumped in. We're happy to have you. As it says, this is the lazy, well, for me, Sunday afternoon live stream where we expect people to snack and, yell at their cat for knocking over the water and mopping that up just as much as we expect people to, actually be productive. No pressure here.
Or you could just sit back and watch us do other things.
Right. Yep. So let's see. Andy got to page 5 of his read through and redlining. Dun, dun, dun. So, ooh. Do you ever use a different color pen or do you enjoy the red?
Actually, I will. When I go through and start editing my drafts in Scrivener, I change the font color so that
Okay.
anything new that I write stands out.
Ah,
And that way I can tell what's from a previous incarnation, what's from the current incarnation.
gotcha.
And then it's like uh, and some things I have gone and turned it all to black when I started the next
Right.
cycle, but on
Yeah.
other things I've also left it, done different colors through multiple edits, and I don't go and turn it all back to black until I get till I'm finalizing things and trying to push them out the door. But
Gotcha. I've heard of people either virtually or like with actual pens using like purple for typos and green for plot issues and red for this and that sort of thing. I have a multicolor pack myself, and I think I've used the purple a lot and the green. As well as the red, obviously. I'm not anti-red. Andy is apparently a red purist for redlining. So.
See, I'm big on using comments, so I will just add comments all over the place, and then once I go and fix them, I remove them. So.
Right. Yeah. So Andy says that blue pen reminds him of the non-reproduction blue pencils his old journalism teacher used. May he rest well. Mm-hmm. So let's see. Just in case, where he is, it is 11:08, but their day just started and is hoping to finish a Cli-Fi shorty tonight. Ooh.
I have no idea what that means. No.
I'm going to assume climate fiction. So yeah. We've got the oceans rising and the salination changing and the usable land moving, et cetera, et cetera. So Greg said if I was anti-red, I would need new lipstick. It's true. It's true. And my chair and my shirt and my
walls. No.
Right. Yeah. So Patrick says yes, it's climate fiction, and it is a newer term. Yeah. So I knew that climate fiction was definitely pretty popular right now. So that's how I logicked it out. Emma Ward is here. Hello and welcome. Just popped over from Jules' stream. So I don't know what hashtag SHU is, but there's a cute little froggy emoji. So
No idea. Shoe frog don't bother me. I don't know. No.
Maybe it's a school that's playing ball right now.
Don't know.
Sacred Heart University, Senton Hall University, Sushi House Unico.
There we go.
I like that one.
The walls.
Greg,
yeah. Greg says the walls seem pinkish. No, these are not pink. They're actually a berry color. The reason, if they come up a little light, that's probably because I'm a little over illuminated right now. But
because berries are never pink.
Look, I've got cherry wood furniture. I needed walls that complemented it.
I get it. So MM Ward has a seed story for a hypoxic ocean event brought about by an oceanic methane release event. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, okay. SHU is Stream Hoppers United. Gotcha. Okay.
Hence the frog, because they're hoppers.
I love that. I'm sorry. I need a moment. Okay. So Justin says that they used light blue pens at the technical high school where they learned topography the old/hard way back in the 80s. Bum, bum, bum. Cli-Fi, for our interest, was first used mainstream in 2013 when NPR did a 5-minute radio segment on novels and movies dealing with human-induced climate change. So Greg says it's better to be too bright than too dim.
Yeah.
Although if you're too dim, you might not know that you're not too bright.
But
Thank you.
Or I might be in a just about half a dozen different movies in the theaters right now, where it's like we're in the blackness with black stuff happening with the black.
I saw someone say, I watch Marvel instead of DC because DC is too dark, and they're like, but the themes are so similar, and there's a lot of really, and they're like, no, visually it's hard on my eyes.
Yes. Exactly.
So Maya is not actively working on drafting the novel right now. Just wanted to let us know. So that's totally fine. No judgment here.
You got a plan.
Justin says the year after, the genre was formally defined in a paper called Climate Changed Existence and Its Worlds, Global Warming in Fiction and Philosophy by the Danish scholar Gregers Andersen at the Department of Arts and Cultural Studies at Copenhagen University. Dun, dun, dun.
Goodness.
So, and we're going back to giving me credit for all the dad jokes. Let me bask in the honor of having all the dad jokes. It's a good place to be.
Is a vast collection of them, right?
Maya is here to rant about fantasy, pro or against, or about particular genre tropes, because, I write fantasy, I read fantasy, but, there's some things I can be like, really loved Name of the Wind, but did you really have to give your main character every single backstory possible? Orphan and Chosen One and Street Rat and Gypsy and like 3 others. I don't even know. It's ridiculous. Greg says he annoyed his wife when he guessed the plot to Pitch Black when he saw an orrery in the background in a scene. I don't know what an orrery is. Oh, a mechanical model of the solar system that goes floop, doop, doop. Gotcha. Just like in oh, what's the movie I'm thinking about? The Dark Crystal.
Yeah. As soon as you go into oh crap, I can't remember her name. Only has one eye. As soon as you go to her place and see all the models of the solar system up there.
Yeah. Urza.
Urza, that's it.
So, oh no, Agra. Agra.
Agra, that's it.
So, let's see. Maya says ranting trends and all that stuff. Anyone up to telling me all the YA fantasy trends right now? I hear actually that the publishing industry on YA fantasy is very full up and that they're trimming their YA budgets and teams so that they're smaller. And maybe that's why I should age my story up to adult fantasy and stop querying YA. But that is just one person's perspective, and it does not mean it's universal. This is publishing. What's true for one person or agent or publishing house is not true for all of them universally, and things on the downswing also go to the upswing pretty quickly. So, yeah. Maya says also teen writer. Yeah.
I was going to say that pendulum can swing back and forth while you're writing the book. A couple times, so that you just have to hit the timing right so that somebody will actually pick up your book.
Yeah. So, and Ward is actually working on a Cli-Fi work in progress right now, and had a climate disagreement in a YouTube video V News vlog about the Boulder County fire. I mean, haven't we noticed an uptick in fires since? Okay. Drier anyway, words, things. Yes. So, and Ward says, yes, it's very true. The trends in YA publishing in indie is very different than traditional. And I think teen is really where you can even start getting into more indie. It's a lot harder to get children's books into the hands of children when it's indie because of who's buying them. Really. And
the younger your target age for children's books, the more prominent physical books are, because the kids are still at a very tactile age, and it's hard to get those published independently.
And also they're not buying their own stuff on a device.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have the money. Someone's buying it for them. And it's a lot easier to give a gift that is physical books. Not that I don't do ebooks all the time to my brother-in-law, but pictures are really key at younger ages too. So, pictures don't do as well on a lot of the ebook readers. A lot of people, even if they do have ebook readers, are either reading on their phone or on like a Paperwhite, and a lot of those are black and white, and the pictures might not be, depending on the age range and that sort of thing.
But if you're doing something on a phone or an iPad, the one advantage you have there is you can do animated pictures.
So Patrick says you also have to get the parents' approval, and I published this independently can be very sketchy because there is such a wide range in indie stuff. I had someone apply to one of my author spotlights, and I was reading the description of the book, and I'm like, that's problematic. Oh my gosh, you got that printed? Oh, you did it yourself. Yeah, no, that's not going on my blog. I'm not going to be associated with it. And I don't care if it's aimed at 6-year-olds. Definitely not being associated with it. Because there were just fat phobia and onomatopoeic names that seemed very mocking of the culture of the character they were supposed to represent, and things like that. And it's just like, no, this isn't like the 70s. No, this is not cool.
There's nothing inherently sketchy about independent publishing. It's just that you are lacking the gatekeepers, and
some of them are 0s and some of them are 5s.
Yeah.
But you need to vet them yourself. You can't just, oh, it's published, I'm sure it'll be fine. In fact, I returned 3 board books to the store in December because I have 3 friends with babies about the same age.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a book about the animal Santa. I think I already ranted about this. And it ended up being all about not believing in Santa and how the animal Santa for a bunch of bunnies was a great horned owl, which eats baby bunnies.
Yep.
So both thematically and character sketch wise, I didn't like it at all. So, you know,
And
you
this
just
was a
gotta,
traditionally published book.
yeah.
Somebody's not doing a good job at their gatekeeping. No.
Right. So Maya said that they see a lot of darker YA fantasies out in traditional publishing, and YA can be dark. There's no reason not to. Teens are dealing with really crappy situations sometimes, you know. They are being abused and neglected by people who should be taking care of them, or in relationships and that sort of thing. You know, trauma happens to people at all ages, and showing YA readers, you know, these are healthy ways to handle things, these are unhealthy ways to handle things. And also, these are things that happen to people, gives them a vocabulary to talk about it, and gives their friends, you know, an idea, a concept of things that could happen to other people that they may not have experienced themselves, and just opening up the ideas and the concepts of, you know, the sort of traumas that people can go through makes them feel not alone, and is and makes their friends more capable of being there for them. And so I don't think YA needs to shy away from darker tropes, but I don't think they all need to be darker tropes, obviously.
But there's two different things that go on in fantasy. Is one, you've got things like that I would tend to refer to as preparatory fantasy, in that it teaches the reader about how to deal with these things if you encounter them. And then there's pure escapist fantasy.
Yeah.
And it can actually be interesting to look at what are the trends in escapist fantasy, and figure out what's going on in the society at the time these things are being published.
Yeah, but definitely pay attention to the fact that the things that are being published today got the green light a year and a half ago. And
or
so you
3
kind of
years
have to go
ago.
ahead of, right,
Yes.
right.
But,
So you really have to be ahead of the trends, even though there are publishers that chase trends, but they're probably not the big name ones. So to a certain extent, if something is a blow away success, obviously they'll be like, ooh, let me get in on that action. But yeah, then you end up with a lot of knockoffs of, you know, Hunger Games or what have you.
yeah.
So
Which happens anyway.
yeah. So Justin Case says that, are there actually anyone left who seriously try to oppose the global warming, including increasing number and strength of natural disasters or man-caused? Yeah, you have the people who say it's cyclical, and I was told all these horror stories in the 70s, and because we managed to completely lower the emissions and stopgap a lot of that stuff, clearly it was all alarmist fiction and blah, blah, blah.
This is the kind of thing that I refer to as getting into religious arguments, not because they're actually faith based, because people are arguing what they believe, whether or not they've got any evidence to back it up.
Yeah, yeah. So Maya said, think of And I Darken and maybe SOC, which I am not familiar with. So, but Maya says they're very problematic. Don't know.
Yeah.
So, Ward says, it isn't that. People don't like it when one points out little they are actually doing to stop it, and that climate cycles last thousands of years and people are invasive parasites and species.
I think there's a how missing from that, is how little they are doing to stop it.
Yeah, yeah. And Ward usually ends her post with pointing out, we have harvested enough from our planet that we don't need to collect more if people recycled. And then, how many recyclables are in your trash right now? How many recyclables does my state, county, city not collect anymore because they were shipping it to China and China said no?
Well, how many recyclables were actually thrown away because people didn't take the time to figure out, here's how we can make money processing recycled material.
Except 80% of the pollution and the non-recyclable recycling is on the industrial level, not at the home level. So
Yeah.
yes, we can make a difference, but if corporations aren't doing it, we can do all we want and nothing's going to change.
Good Lord. And I've
Oh, okay. So SOC is Six of Crows. Gotcha.
okay, and I find myself coming back to the Victorian argument about coal tar, because
Mhm.
in Victorian times they were using lots of coal, and coal tar was a byproduct, and they had mounds of it all over the place. And there was like, what do we do with this stuff? And a couple chemists started tinkering around with it, and it's like, this is why we have why aspirin is affordable. This is why we have the plastics industries. It was basically uh, uh, an organic chemistry slurry that you could turn into just about anything.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. So just in case says that, yeah, he's seen that reaction too often too and loads it. Worst is it is actually not difficult at all, and it even saves money. Yeah, in some cases, definitely. So Maya says that their story may be problematic since it's about cult members and their downfall to darkness. I don't think that's problematic. I
it's
mean,
not
obviously,
inherently problematic.
it depends how it's handled,
Yeah.
definitely. And yes, fat phobic books and racism are very problematic, which is why it was not featured on my blog. For
Yeah.
children, I was just like, it's not funny. Calling a Tinkerbell a Tankerbell. I'm just, anyway, it was disgusting and not on my stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah. MM Ward says that Colorado charges to drop off recyclables when we're making them money. It's ridiculous. I don't even understand how we got where we are. Catechist says hi.
Catechist says, "This is the cat. You want to pet the cat. No, you want to play with the cat. No."
Would you like a mouse? Is this your mouse? Is this your mouse? Mouse.
He's such a high energy cat right now. No.
So, anyway, that was a nice level of ranting, I think. Did we want to do another sprint? I was thinking about being productive.
I think a sprint would be a good palate cleanser right now.
And a snack. I think I need a snack.
Yeah.
Oh wow. MM Ward has to drive an hour to drop off recyclables. But yes, we all hail the feline overlord. Catechist is still not a dog, it's true, but he used to fetch. And then he found it was much better for him to go hide behind things and have mom follow the mouse that she throws around so he can pounce out at it and then go to the next spot and toss it again so he can pounce out from behind the next thing. He's raced, like I go to pick it up and he races to the next hiding point. So he makes sure I get my steps in too. So Maya says, as a teen, seeing weird stuff in YA, like steamy scenes, made me uncomfortable. Yeah, there should be. The problem is too many adults read YA and they put the steamy scenes in for them. And there are, some teens do want to read it, but, saying all YA needs a romance is, I think, wrong and not accurate to the audience that they're supposed to be notionally for. And so that can be problematic if the, publishers at the higher end insist on having some level of romance in there, because that's not what all teens want. It might be what, the middle-aged women reading it like me are looking for, but no, that I don't need a romance in a book to enjoy it. So I think I think one is problematic, but I'm not sure that we're away from that right now.
Honestly,
Not,
I think
do you
one
read a lot
thing,
of YA?
everybody reads a certain amount of YA because honestly, a lot of YA stories get more thought into them. But what I think that we really ought to be seeing now is YA stories where basically a romantic involvement is offered and rejected, and people actually handling that well. because there's a lot of stuff going on in our world right now that is because people didn't learn how to handle rejection. I'd rather see people learning how to handle rejection through reading YA books.
But yeah, there are a lot of people who do not handle rejection well. And it's hard. It's hard. For me, stepping away helps and not doing it face to face helps. But yeah. So Maya called out specifically Court of Thorn and Roses, which I know is super trendy right now. But I think anything with Fae is is more likely to end up in that romancy section for some reason. And then Ward suggests that YA and YA mature need to be separated, that younger kids read what they see their older siblings reading, and has seen a 9-year-old reading Twilight and a 12-year-old reading Game of Thrones, and that parents need to pay attention. And also says, preach, Doc, preach.
Yeah. I am all about people learning about better ways to deal with their relationships, especially when they don't come out the way they fantasize about them.
Yeah. So Maya's like, why? And then Ward says, young people need to learn that they don't have to accept every romantic overture. Just because, this isn't your only opportunity to have romance, and maybe you need somebody who's a better fit for you.
Yeah, and they need to learn that just because somebody says no doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It's just it's not working, and it's not working on that level right now.
Yeah. And you know what? People need to learn that about jobs too. I mean, sometimes you have to take what you have to take because there is nothing else available, but having a better fit is going to be better for them, and it's going to be better for you. And I've been reading way too much Ask a Manager. Sorry.
Yeah.
But talking about abusive and healthy relationships, some jobs are just abusive relationships. And, boundaries are boundaries, and they play in every aspect of your life. So, let's see. So some kids are reading, Game of Thrones because they've heard how dark and gritty it is, and they think that's what they want. And for a small percentage, it is. And for others, it's like the 8-year-old who talks the babysitter into letting them watch the horror movie and is up all night screaming for weeks.
Well, the kids want new stuff too. They want something that they haven't been exposed to before, and
that isn't an after-school special. They want something different than maybe the teachers are giving them. So, yeah. And Maya would like to know, why do Fae have to have weird stuff?
Yeah, part of that is the Fae are basically alien. The Fae need to be strange and unusual. But they don't necessarily have to be sexually strange and unusual.
Sometimes people use the Fae as analogies for people who are counterculture and that sort of thing. And it really depends, what the writer is bringing to the Fae. From, what sort of weirdness do they want to give them? And a lot of it is, that dark sexuality is very popular for them. So Andy would like to wince in 12-year-olds reading grandma's spicy Highlander romances. Yeah. Emma Ward says that so many Wattpad books are filled with toxic tropes, teaching young girls and boys that an abusive older person will someday love them if they just endure the abuse.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah. And Ward says, to be honest, the Game of Thrones mom had no idea what was in it until they were told, and was horrified. Yeah. I read that, I think, when I was like 18, 19. I would not have read it at that age. And I started reading Anita Blake when I was like 14, maybe 13. But she didn't, hop in bed with anybody until book 8. And by then I was already emotionally invested in the story, and it was too late for my mom to stop me from reading it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot worse things than people having sex in Game of Thrones. Um,
Oh,
and unfortunately, those are the things that get past the censors easier than sex, which says things about our
because because we have no problems with our children seeing violence and death and torture that we hope they will never experience, but healthy sexual relationships we shouldn't ever show because gasp, horror. So Andy says, I read a lot of those books because I was tired of having books written for my age talk down to me, and I was thankful for things like A Separate Peace. Yeah, yeah. So Ward says, I have seen too many books where vampires, immortals, demons, fae are just code for abusive pedophiles. Yeah, yeah.
Any book where a 100-year-old vampire is hanging out with teenagers and dating teenage girls, it's like, hello, pedophile.
Yep. So I read 50 Shades and I couldn't get through Twilight. So I don't know what that says about me. I usually hate train wrecks, so I'm not sure how I got through 50 Shades other than the fact, I was like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Okay, I guess.
I will admit that I have not read 50 Shades, but everything that I have read in snippets of it and stuff, it is a blueprint for an abusive relationship.
But you know what? Instead of telling people, oh, Twilight is bad because it demonstrates unhealthy relationships, 50 Shades is bad because maybe it's like, oh, if you like that, you'll also like this with healthier modeled relationship. It can be a gateway drug rather than what you like is bad and therefore you shouldn't read, which is the message a lot of people got with the pushback about 50 Shades, with the pushback about Twilight. No, what I hear is these are audiences that are hungry for books in this genre. And if you're giving them crap, that's all they have to read. And so, it's an underserved audience, because we look down on things that are popular with tween girls and, housewives because we're too elitist, even though pulp stuff doesn't get that same stuff, even though it's rompy fiction, it's very. So anyway, Maya says, is it bad that I'm reading Anti Darken? I am not familiar with that book, so I can't tell you. Andy says, oh, someone was capacitated. Wait, a nipple? The horror.
No.
I don't know. I don't know what your comfort level is and what sort of things you should be reading. And, all people, have different levels of things that they can read. And some people can read anything as long as it doesn't touch on like dogs dying or miscarriage or, something that they are specifically sensitive to. And others, they want the lighter fare. And that's totally fine. You don't have to read dark, deep stuff in order to, be a legitimate reader, to have your books taken seriously. So Greg says that 50 Shades is bad Twilight, Mary Sue. Maybe, but it depends which is the better writer. So Justin Case says, are we talking fiction? But we are at least we're talking fiction. But I have seen elderly horror or sci-fi author colleagues hanging out with their teenage fangirls and getting away with this and that. Yeah, it's true and it's gross and it's disgusting. And I think that there's been a lot more pushback, at least in certain areas. And hopefully there will continue to be more pushback because, a lot of times they're very flattered and excited and don't recognize the power dynamic and the fact that it's gross that they're hanging out with teen girls. And sometimes, they're just, elderly colleagues may not be the most socially aware. And some of them are totally exploiting it because they're like, these are the girls I always wanted when I was that age, and keep talking themselves into why it's okay for them.
I
And
imagine a number
it's
of them
gross.
justify it with the fact that I didn't go to the girls came to me. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
well,
She
yeah,
hit on me,
it's
but
fine for
you're
the
the
girls.
adult here.
It's fine for the girls to come and show appreciation for your work, but then to go and proposition you, that gets into all kinds of
Yeah,
dangerous territory that needs to be personally analyzed.
yeah, yeah. It's
Um,
it's gross and it's disgusting, and we definitely need to get away from that.
mhm.
Personally, once I passed like 28, I was like, I don't want to date anyone who hasn't lived out on their own for at least 6 months. You know, and I understand some people's living situations with their family and stuff like that require them to, still stay and take care of people. But, you have to had been responsible for meal planning and paying bills and that sort of thing. There's a certain level of adulting that happens when you are responsible for a household that these teen girls have not experienced, these college kids have not experienced, that I don't want to be going near that, even if it was, culturally acceptable.
and some of them are honestly just looking for sugar daddies, but um, most authors aren't sugar daddies, no matter what you think. So we
Yeah,
just won't make
yeah,
enough.
yeah. MM Ward says, and sometimes it's, disrespect for the money, slap her butt, bruise her, and that's fine. Bring her flowers and respect her. Call the censors and the editors. Be the adult, not the adult.
Thank you.
Yes. So, and Maya says they're looking to talk about their love for good fantasy books with villains. I dream one day of writing a villain. I have not successfully. I keep doing person versus social structure, or
Mhm.
I I keep sidestepping the villain. Like I tried to set one up in my middle grade school play story, and it slipped away. Instead, we had a misunderstanding of, "Ooh, I found this cool new friend, and the old friend feels left behind," and that sort of thing. Where nobody's doing anything malicious, and it's just, as you grow up, things happen. So
And oh, one piece of advice I've heard about writing villains is the villain should be the most interesting person in your story.
yeah,
Um,
Maya's gonna go. Good to see
oh,
you. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, go ahead, Doc. You were saying?
the villain needs to be the most interesting person in your story because they've gone through things, they've gone a different direction, and they get less screen time. So
Mhm.
they have to make an impact with the readers. So
Yeah, yeah. So okay. Justin says that they know examples of young female writers paying celebrity endorsements with sex, but sometimes you have to see, are these ones who, the celebrities endorse guys having read the works, but insist on a little tit for tat, literally, when it comes to women writers. You know, when you hear those stories about women sleeping their way to the top, is it because they're being denied the chances if they don't, even though they're showing up and doing the work? Who's standing in their way if they don't? And a lot of times they're not the ones making those decisions. They're feeling pressured into it, and
yeah,
like, give up on your dream or give it up. And that's
yeah.
disgusting and
It's like
true.
I'm looking at that and I'm starting off with one, you should never pay for a celebrity endorsement. They endorse you or they don't. And
Yeah.
two, you should never be offering sex to anyone in a business relationship. So
I don't know who's offering and who's highly suggesting and
eh,
pressuring
who,
and whining and dining.
who's insisting on it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's not,
Catechist says hi. And then says, I think I got the most recent book I DNF, did not finish, was A Daddy Fetish that was
uh,
aged up. The main character was supposed to be 23, college grad, but dressed like a child and had coloring books on her. I know people who are 30 who do that though. So that
who's
is some of the
Adult coloring books are making a big comeback.
What? I
But
hate them. I hate adult coloring books. Give me a child one. Coloring is supposed to be relaxing. An adult coloring book, single image takes 3 to 5 hours to color in. That's not relaxing. I'm a completist. I need something I can do in 30 to 45 minutes.
okay.
Otherwise, my hand starts cramping and I can't do it in one sitting. And no, that's not relaxing for me.
That's a spectrum of the market, and you're away from the highly detailed portion of the spectrum. But some people absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and it's
definitely.
like that definitely needs to be there for them.
Yeah, yeah. So, Daddy's office floor. Ugh. So, Emma Ward says, I told the writer I didn't review books that taught girls how to become victims of pedophiles. Ow. And age 23-year-old would do that unless they were a fetish sex worker. So, guess what? She changed the book to. Oh, ooh. Well, there's a market for it. I mean, and as long as you're warned, you can avoid those books.
Mm-hmm.
So, ew.
And Nightbot is here.
Oh, Nightbot would like to remind us we should stretch. Oh.
Since we're talking about other kinks, Nightbot wants us to stretch out our own kinks, right?
Hi, Kitty. You're going to have to move. You can't lay between me and the keyboard and then eat my hand when I touch my keyboard.
But Mom, it's fun.
So, MM Ward says, a lot of people do coloring books, but the scene was sickly sexualized and repeated. Ugh. Cat down. So let's go ahead and do some writing after that. Catechus, oh my gosh, Cat, I love you, but no. Is this your mouse? Is this your mouse? Maybe this is your mouse. Is this your mouse? Go get it. Go get your mouse. Really? Ribbon? Ribbon? Will you go play with your ribbon? Okay. Okay. Where were we?
I think we're about to start a sprint.
Yeah. So there's a market for every fetish and they all pay money. Make sure to target your audience and don't try to force your kink onto unexpected markets, I think is really the main thing.
Yeah.
Yes, Catechus nom nom on the mom. He's a year old as of this week. This is his year-old week. Probably. He's a rescue. And he's eating me. So let go. No, we don't eat mom. I mean, clearly we do, but we don't. Ow. Ow. No. Sorry, I'm chastising my cat right now.
Yes, I can tell. I find it interesting the way you scoop him into your lap so he immediately wraps around your arm so that you could peel him off with the other hand.
That's the easiest way to get him off the the desktop without him batting at my face. Which is also an issue.
Yep, I can see that.
He's 80% amazing and 20% malicious. Like, he doesn't like getting told no and will come back and smack you. And I don't know how to fix that. If someone has suggestions, I would love to hear them. But so anyway.
The only thing
the fuck, cat! Someone just launched themselves at my head.
Yeah, we saw that. You okay?
I think so. More startled than anything.
Oh.
As I said, he doesn't take no well. As long as I don't have to tell him no, he's fine.
Yeah. And I was just going to suggest that maybe you need to get another cat to give him somebody else to beat up on. And I don't know if that would actually work or not, but
okay, let's go to sprint. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And we're back.
Oh.
Everybody's favorite asshole kitty skulked off after that intermission and hasn't been back, but he did follow me around, sitting cautiously out of reach. So
Probably the smartest thing he's done this afternoon.
He took a nap earlier. He snuggled on the lap. He totally escaped into the garage and the sunroom when we were trying to get some insulation in there,
Yeah.
So he's had a fun day, and he's only done one or two stupid things.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's too bad.
I'm not seeing. It looks like a little scrape, but not any obvious scars.
It was more startlement than anything else. I'm just.
He did kind of launch his entire self at your head. So
as I said, he doesn't take no well. And I don't know how to fix that. Like, all the suggestions I've seen are loud noise and clap at him and separate yourself from the situation instantly and maybe give him a 5-minute timeout so he'll calm down. Because we all know timeout, half the time is not a punishment. It's time for the child and the parent to calm down and redirect. And so when you let the kids out of the room, they don't go at it again because they... For me, it was go to your room and then I'd start reading a book and wouldn't get into any more fights with my sister for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I know that we've always had just about always have had multiple cats. Mm-hmm. So we've never really had a cat. We did have a cat who was into biting, but she usually wasn't too bad about it.
I've had solo cats before. This one just might...
It's all about temperament, and he apparently we've had kittens that get very aggressive, and as long as they've got another cat to take that aggression out on, you kind of yell at them for fighting, but they don't come and bother you, which is why I almost wonder if you might be better off with another cat for him to wrestle with.
I specifically wanted a short-haired cat that could live solo. That's what I was looking for.
Sorry, I don't know.
But the thought was, he's still a kitten, he's still a teenager, and he'll settle down when he gets older. And he's a year old, so maybe I just wait it out for 6 more months and he'll mellow. Yeah, he just needs to not sit between me and the keyboard, and we'll be fine, because that's 90% of the problem, is me moving him from the keyboard away. But I'm going to try to play with him more regular intervals. Try and get that energy out so he's not bored when I go to sit down at my computer.
Yeah, that you were doing that for a while, and that seemed to be working. The other possibilities are backup Bluetooth keyboard. So it's like the cat has claimed the main keyboard. Unplug it. Use the Bluetooth keyboard, or setting out a decoy keyboard that he can lay on.
He's not laying on the keyboard. He's laying between me and the keyboard in such a way that if I reach over him, it's playtime and he goes at my hand. Because he's laying there and my arm goes over him. So clearly I'm inviting play. So it's a struggle.
Something to entice him to lay on a different portion of the desk. So
I have a towel. I've tried beds. I cleared out the space. There is another spot. And he uses it half the time, maybe 2/3 of the time. But occasionally he decides he needs to be right here. So anyway, Andy had to head out to dinner. Chandra is here. Hello and welcome.
Welcome, Chandra.
Okay. So Emma Ward says she has the sweetest cat who bites her in her sleep. Catechus has nipped my face a few times because that's the only thing exposed when I haven't gotten up yet, and he's bored and ready to play in the morning. Not hard, never drew blood, but yeah. So we're working on it. So let's see. MM says cats don't understand timeout, and if you make the timeout into kennel time, then it becomes hard to put them in the kennel when they need to go to the vet. Yeah, when I do timeout, it's oh my gosh, you did not just do that. I will pick you up instantly, put you in the back guest room and close the door and come back in 10-15 minutes. It's not, you know, I don't think he sees it as punishment. I don't know if he knows what's going on, but it does give him 5 minutes to calm down, redirect, and not have that attitude when he comes back out. So, yeah. Apparently older for calming down is 3 to 5 years. A fake keyboard might help. And wow, I'm just getting a lot of spam users today.
Really?
I know Catechus is vying for dominance. I try the eye stare down and everything else. I've pinned him, etc., etc. But yeah, so mine is a rescue, but he's now permanently indoors, and he's not 100% on board with the 100% inside. So Justin is glad they don't use a mouse. I have a touchpad and I hate it. I hate touchpads. I always use a plug-in mouse. So let's see about the actual sprint itself.
Yes.
Not just my cat. This is not the
this is not the cat cast.
Right. Kelly was working on some pop-up code for subscribers. It didn't turn out. It seems copying one with the same HTML code was renamed, even though he renamed the copies. Because the home desktop is dated and my phone display isn't ideal. I have to hit the library again to fix the code and desktop layout. Oh, that's frustrating. Justin did about 300 words. Nice. Good job. So, yeah. And I think that's everything else was comments about Catechus being a jerk face.
Pretty much. I got
80 cents amazing.
80% amazing, 20%. Does the 20% have to come out on my stream? Damn it! No. But
that's when he gets super bored.
Yep.
Mommy's being boring.
Does he attack you when you're working from home?
Yeah, on occasion, but usually maybe like once a day, not like all the time. But a lot of times I have a sweater on and I'll pick him up like that, and he'll like nom at the sweater for a minute, and then I'll dump him on the ground. But yeah, no, he hates being told no. He hates moving. I'll try moving him here, and he'll just come right back over here. So.
And it probably doesn't help that we're talking to you as opposed to you just sitting at the keyboard trying to type out code or
some of it,
some stuff like that.
A lot of times, like when my boyfriend calls to say goodnight, that's playtime. So I'm talking on the phone and throwing his mouse. So I'm trying to get him used to me talking to people who aren't here and him not getting playtime as well.
Yeah.
So, but I have been gone a lot more recently, and so it's hard to get back into a habit until I. Has he tried to eat or destroy the computer or camera setup? Well, yes, I do need to replace my microphone cable for the second time. Right now, electrical tape is helping, but yeah, everything else I just put a towel over. So he can't get at the cables and it's fine. But the microphone is.
And there went the video. Okay. There we go.
This is the microphone.
Okay. Okay. It's a nice mic.
It's really hard to hide the cable because it's up so high.
Right.
So anyway, I'm going to move it back and let's see if I go off again.
Need to put a nice steel conduit around that microphone cable so that he can chew on it all he likes and he can't get through.
Yeah. The problem is how do you get one that stays up and doesn't slide down the cable?
It'd probably have to be attached somewhere, or
because he chews at it right at the top of the base of it, so it's got to be all the way up. And
put a thumb screw on the top end and just tighten it up enough that it'll grip. Hi. I have a Gilly come to see why I'm not feeding her.
Ward has had several cats who hunted rats, rabbits, and snakes. Growing up, my cat was definitely a fan of the switching cameras. Was a fan of hunting, and my room was the favored room because it got the morning sun. So bunnies, voles, mice. My one of my favorite stories. Cover your ears if you're easily squicked out. My mom was walking down the hallway at night and was like, "Why am I stepping on like peeled grapes?" And instead, it was baby voles.
Oh, lovely.
So
Uh,
Justin's cats take grass snakes too. Luckily, there aren't many vipers in the area. Ward's hunts the rattlesnakes. Eee! I don't know if I would let mine out. Kelly wants me to know that the wild may be calling Catechus after his break for the snow. He stayed right next to the house. The like cubby, if you've seen my Instagram, I shared a picture of him like under a bush in on a snowy day. That bush and that hideaway under it, you can see from the bedroom window. So I think he was like, other cats have been here and I need to like make sure they know this is my space.
Mine. When I was growing up, we had indoor outdoor cats, and
Right.
one of our cats would chase the dogs in the neighborhood. So that was always interesting to see when you were out working in the garden and you see a dog go running past and our cat chasing after him.
Right.
But none of the cats that we've had, well, the cats that we've had have all been indoors, so they haven't done a lot of hunting, although there have been a couple times when we've come downstairs and the cat has been rolling on something on the carpet, and it's like, "What are you rolling on, cat?" "Oh, it's a toy mouse." "Oh, wait, it's not a toy." Uh, that a couple field mice have made the bad life choice to come inside our house and have discovered a swift and crushing death at being rolled on by our cats.
Oh no.
Yeah. And getting their tails chewed off in the bargain.
Legit.
Yep.
So, yeah, cats are fun. So Kelly says that's interesting. His double teamed any dog that strayed into the yard. Sorry, I may have added the mwahaha myself.
Well, it's 6:25.
It is. I think we might as well just go to outros at this point.
I was
Not my
say,
most productive stream.
Did you want to try another stream? But we've had plenty of good conversation about various things.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. I'm Doc Coleman. I write steampunk comedy adventure. You can find links to where I am down below, but if you don't remember to click on the link, you can also go search for Doc Coleman's Steampunk. I'm currently working away on the beta read for The Kindred of Kali, which is book 2 in the Adventures of Crackle and Bang. Hopefully we'll have that ready to publish in the second half of this year, because I want to be able to have it with me at the Renaissance Festival this fall so I can sell copies there.
Yeah. So says that she's missed the Sunday stream so much. We've missed you. I'm so glad you're back. And I'm sorry there were only 2 short sprints. And as always, I am Morgan Hazelwood. I am an actively queering fantasy author, and I have a short story published. Sorry, which is a little more horror than my normal stuff. I play with genres. Is that in the link down below? As always, you can find me blogging, podcasting, writing tips, and writerly musings on morganhazelwood.com, YouTube /Morgan Hazelwood, morganhazelwood.fireside.fm, or on any podcast thing, just look for writing tips and writerly musings, and that's probably going to be me. Yeah. And right now I am sharing my DisCon notes, my notes from WorldCon that happened super late this year in December. And this week's notes were on um, finding the authorial voice. You know how they always talk about how, the voice is so crucial. This actually has tools and suggestions on how to develop a voice and change your voice. And I thought it was a really fascinating panel. So definitely check that out if that's something that interests you. And thank you for watching. Tune in again next week. And yeah, it was great to have everybody. Bye bye.
All right.